Good morning, everyone. I am Edsel Kider Altareas, and today I'm going to discuss the Philippine literature under Spanish colonial period. Now, the Philippine literature in the Spanish colonialization, the existing literature of the Philippine ethnic groups at the same time of the conquest and conversion into Christianity was mainly oral, consisting epics, legends, riddles, and proverbs. And the conquistador, especially those in or its ecclesiastical arm, destroyed whatever um, written literature he could find, hence rendered the system of writing, for example the Tagalog syllabary, inoperable. There are influences of Spanish and Philippine literature. First is the first Filipino alphabet called Alibata was replaced by the Roman alphabet, which what we have now, the A, B, C, D, and so on. Next is the teaching of the Christian doctrine became the basis of religious practices, and the Spanish language, which became the literary language during time, lent many of its words to our language. Next, European legends and traditions brought here became assimilated in our songs, corridos, and moromoras, and ancient literature was collected and translated to Tagalog and other dialects. And also, many grammar books were printed in Filipino, like Tagalog, Ilocano, and Visayan. Our periodicals during these times gained a religious tone. So, the literature in the Spanish time, or when the Spanish colonized our the Philippines, the literature mainly focuses about religious themes. Now let's move on to a literary piece that is written in this Spanish colonization time here in the Philippines, which is The Desires Unlikely and, or in Tagalog, Kakaibang Pagkalibing ng Paghahangad by Leona Florentino. But before that, let me introduce to you the author of this poem, which is Leona Florentino. She is born April 19, 1849, a Filipino poet in the Spanish and Ilocano languages. She is considered as the mother of Philippine women's literature and the bridge from oral to literary tradition. Also born to a wealthy and prominent family in Vigan, Ilocos Sur. Her literary contributions were recognized when she was included in the International Encyclopedia of Women's Workscene. Now let me read you the Filipino version, entitled Kakaibang Pagkalibing ng Paghahangad. Ang kakaibang timyas mo'y lagi kong panaginip. Tuwing gabing ako'y nahihimbing. Tila ba sumasamo ako sa iyo ng tumatangis. Inihihimutok ang lumbay at pasakit na tinitis. Ninang, arukin mo sa kaibuturan ng isip ang mahahapdi kong mga daing, dahil tunay namang walang kahihinatnat, wala ng kabuluhan. Kikitlin ko na ngayon itong pagdurusang hinaharap. Tunay, imnas, pagkat ano pa nga ba ang aking hahangarin, kung kalupitan din lamang ang aking tatamasahin. Mamatamisin ko ang kamatayan kung sa iyo ito magmumula. Ang buhay kong ito'y sa iyo nakalaan. Kung nanaisin mo kahit pa mapugto ang hininga, pagpalain mo na sana itong pusong nakikiusap, na sa piling lubos tumahan. Arukin mo sa kaibituran ng isip, itong napakahapding pagdaing, at kung itong pagsintay iiwanan mong nagdurusa, hanggang puntod susundan ka ng mga luha, at yaong bangkay dito'y bubuntong hininga ng buong buo, upang yaong mga taong makaririnig ay magsasabing, ay, tunay namang kay sawimpalad, lubusan ng napariwarat wala ng pitagan. Now, let's move on to the poem analysis. The title significance, which is the title Desire Unlikely to End, immediately hints at the enduring nature of desire. And Leona Florentino uses language and imagery, which she employs vivid and emotive language convey her feelings. The themes of the poem are love and desire, and these are the central themes in Florentino's poetry. Its cultural context, understanding the cultural and historical context in which Leona Florentino wrote her poetry is essential. First is the imagery. The poem is rich in vivid imagery. It describes the speaker's intense desire for someone, comparing it to a dream that they experience every night. The imagery of sumasamo or pleading and inihihimutok ang lumbay at sakit or nursing sorrow and pain conveys the depth of the speaker's emotions. Next is the use of address. The speaker addresses dear Ninang or beloved through the poem, creating a personal and intimate tone. And also the conflicting emotions. The poem explores the conflict between desire and suffering. Next is the theme of unrequited love. The poem also touches on unrequited love as the speaker acknowledges that their love may not be reciprocated. This theme adds a sense of longing and melancholy to the poem. And next is the final stanza. In the final stanza, the speaker contemplates the possibility of their beloved's death and expresses a desire to follow them to the grave. This stanza is particularly poignant as it suggests a love that is so intense it transcends even death. Now, there are various figures of speech used in the poem. First is the metaphor. This figure of speech is used to make a direct comparison between two unrelated things, suggesting that they are alike in some way. For example, in the poem, tuwing gabi ako'y nahihimbing, or every night when I'm fast asleep. And also personification. Personification is a figure of speech in which human characteristics are attributed to non-human entities or abstract concepts. In the poem, we see personification in lines like inihihimutok ang lumbay at pasakit or holding back the sorrow and pain. Next is the hyperbole. Hyperbole involves exaggerating or overstating something for emphasis. An example can be found in the lines, tila ba sumasamo ako sa iyo ng tumatangis, or it's as if I'm begging you with tears. Next is symbolism. Symbolism is the use of symbols to represent ideas or qualities. In this poem, the concept of desire and love is symbolized by various elements, such as tears, dreams, and suffering. Next is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of words in close proximity. While it's not extensively used in this poem, you can find examples like mahahapdi kong mga daing or my burning cries and pleas where the M sound is repeated. And lastly is repetition. It involves repeating words or phrases for emphasis. The poem repeats certain phrases, the words such as sa iyo or to you, to emphasize the focus on the beloved. And that's all for my report.